Throughout your entire life, you were measured with a scale that never existed. They told you that your mind has a number, an IQ score, a grade on a blank piece of paper, a diploma hanging on the wall. They told you it was about how much factual knowledge you could memorize or how fast you could solve a math problem. They deceived you because it was easy for them. Real intelligence has nothing to do with education. It has nothing to do with being smart, as naive society defines it. Real intelligence is leverage. It is survival. It is the ability to impose your will on reality before reality imposes its will on you. Hervey Cleckley always knew this. The great strategists of history knew this. While the masses were trying to look smart, the minority was busy collecting power, being strong. There's a hierarchy, there are secret cognitive evolutionary steps, and this ladder decides who eats and who gets eaten, who becomes king and who lives in misery. Most people, perhaps 95% of the population, die on the first step of the ladder. They live in a fog. They think they are making choices, but actually they are being operated in a theater written by someone else. Then there are those who manage to start climbing the steps. There are 7 levels of intelligence, 7 stages of awakening. Today, we will strip away the illusions. We will hold a mirror in front of your soul. It will be disturbing. Can you withstand it? If you withstand it, you will find yourself. I will open your eyes. It can even be painful because you'll see exactly where you stand. And once you see this hierarchy, you can never unsee it. The faces of the people around you will change. You will see the ropes tied to their arms. You will see the silence in their eyes. The only question is, are you brave enough to see where you are ranked? Look around you. Really look, even where you are. Look to your right and left. Walk down a crowded city street during rush hour. Watch the faces in the metro. Stand in the queue at the supermarket. What do you see? You see the sleepers and the ones being put to sleep. This is the first level, and this is the most crowded level. The sleeping person is not necessarily stupid. They can have a high IQ. They can be a prosecutor, a lawyer, an engineer. They can recite Shakespeare by heart or write codes in Python. But functionally, they are asleep. The intelligence at this level is completely reactive. You cannot move the sleeping person. They are moved. Their life is a series of biological and social reflexes. The alarm rings, they wake up. The boss gives an order, they obey. The speaker talks, they believe. The ad flashes, they buy. They think their ideas belong to them, but they do not. But if you push them, if you ask them why they believe what they believe, they collapse. They repeat a headline they saw on Instagram. They repeat an emotion their family taught them, like a parrot, over and over again. They are a shell of other people's ideas. Hervey Cleckley defined this class of humans as people so subject to simple and immediate needs that anyone who wants to deceive will always find someone willing to be deceived. The sleeping person is defined by lack of agency. They live with an external locus of control. Everything that happens to them is someone else's fault. The economy, the government, their spouse, their luck. They have become victims of circumstances, carried along in a river they refuse to navigate. Psychologically, the sleeping person is afraid of autonomy. Freedom is not a gift for them, it is a burden on their back. If you gave them complete freedom, they would panic. They desire a master. They desire structure. They want to be told what is beautiful, what is ugly, and what they should do next. That is why the sleeping person is obsessed with consensus. They do not feel safe without knowing what the majority thinks. They read the comments section before forming an opinion. They look at what is trendy before buying clothes. Their greatest fear is not being wrong. Their greatest fear is being alone. You know these people. You work with them. You might be related to them. Maybe you are one of them. They are the background characters in the movie of history. They fill the empty spaces. They make noise. But they leave no trace. They are batteries. They power the systems built by higher levels of intelligence. They consume, they produce, and then they are replaced. If you are on the first level, you are probably not watching this video. The algorithm does not show this kind of darkness to the sleepers. But if you are a sleeping person and you're waking up now, understand this. Keep watching. Let yourself change. The pain you feel, the disturbing feeling that your life does not belong to you, is not a sign of depression. It is a sign that the anesthesia of reality has been torn through. A sleeping person does not become wise the moment they wake up. They will be noisy. They enter the second level, the imitator. The imitator has realized that the world is nothing but a game. They realize that intelligence is a currency that buys respect, status, and approval. But they do not yet have their own intelligence, so they steal others' minds. The imitator is of average intelligence. They are the person who uses big words they do not fully understand at dinner parties. They are the social media activist who adopts the latest trend not because they do not care, but because they are showing virtue. They read book reviews, not the books themselves. They quote Nietzsche, but have never looked over the edge of an abyss. At the second level, intelligence is a performance. It is a costume. The imitator is obsessed with intellectual aesthetics. They collect degrees, certificates, and titles like shiny stones. They need you to know they are smart. They need applause. This is the most dangerous level for the ego because at the second level, you feel superior to the sleepers. You will look down on them. Admit it, you do. You will think, look at those sheep. I am awake. But you are not awake. You're just in a different dream. The imitator has fallen into the trap of the Dunning-Kruger effect. They know enough to think they are an expert, but they do not know enough to realize how stupid they actually are. Hervey Cleckley warned about this type. He talked about those who confuse the appearance of virtue with virtue itself. If the imitator looks like a leader, they believe they are a leader. If they talk like a poet, they believe they are a poet. But go deeper. Challenge an imitator. Ask them to solve a new problem. Ask them to build a system from scratch. They panic because they cannot create. They can only copy. They are an echo, a reflection. The tragedy of the imitator is their dependence on external approval. All their self-worth is tied to the approval of the intellectual class they hope to join. They are afraid of being exposed as fake. This makes them hard as iron. They become aggressive when questioned. If you're constantly trying to prove that you are right, if you're memorizing arguments to win debates instead of searching for truth, you're stuck at the second level and you cannot get out of there. Think of a bird, colorful, noisy, able to talk, but unable to think. That is where the darkness begins. When you stop performing for others and start observing reality as it is, you rise to the third level, the calculator. This is the fox, the shrewdest. The calculator has given up the need for approval. They no longer care whether people find them smart or not. They care about winning. This is the first level of true agency. The calculator looks at the world, at laws, morality, social contracts, and realizes these are not absolute truths. They are arbitrary rules, and rules can be bent. Hervey Cleckley wrote, "The lion cannot protect itself from traps, and the jackal cannot defend itself from wolves. That is why you must be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves. The calculator is the fox. They see the traps. They understand incentive structures. They look at their boss, their partner, their government, and ask, what do they want? What are they afraid of? How can I use this? The intelligence at the third level is transactional. It is bleak and cold. It is strategic. The calculator is effective. They climb the institutional ladder not by working the hardest, but by maneuvering the smartest. They know who to flatter and who to ignore. They know when to speak and when to stay silent. But the calculator is usually alone, because when you see every interaction as a transaction, you kill the human element. You start seeing people as chess pieces. This makes you strong, while at the same time making you paranoid. The calculator is constantly watching their back because they assume everyone is a calculator. They project their own cunning onto the world. They trust no one. This is the trap of the third level. You become a prisoner of your own strategy. You're so busy playing the game that you forget to live. You are productive, yes, but you are hollow inside. Many successful bosses, CEOs, and fraudsters stop here. They have enough money, they have their status, but they never have peace. They are stuck in a permanent state of constantly scanning for threats and opportunities. They are the smartest person in the room, but they are still reacting to the room. They are still playing within a system built by someone else. They are winning the game, but they are not free from it. To go higher, you must stop looking only at yourself. You must become a force of nature. The fox is cunning, but the fox hides in small places. The fourth level is the operator, the lion, the king of the forest. The operator transcends pure calculation. They add a new element, will. The calculator tries to safely navigate the world. The operator tries to shape the world purely through the power of personality and talent. This is the high command level. The commander is directly you. The whole forest wants to hear from you. The operator does not just see the chess pieces. They move them with conviction. They're not afraid to fight. Actually, they thrive while in the fight. Hervey Cleckley said, "If you cannot have both, it is better to be feared than to be loved." The operator understands this. They are inclined to make the hard decisions that the sleepers, imitators, and the calculators are too afraid to make. They accept responsibility. At this level, intelligence becomes productive. You're not just exploiting existing opportunities. You're creating new ones through your executive ability. People follow the operator not because they manipulate them like rats, but because they represent order in a chaotic world. They are a lighthouse. They have a vision, and they have a method of walking towards it, dragging everyone behind them if necessary. But the lion has a fatal flaw. Being visible, the operator is noisy. They stand in the front lines. They receive the praise, but the blame also falls on them. They are a target because they depend on power and existence. Their power is tied to their physical energy. If they get sick, the empire collapses. If they show weakness, the wolves attack. The operator is tired. They carry the weight of the world on their shoulders. They think they are a king, but actually they are the highest paid slave. They are slaves to their own ambition. They think power is about executing, controlling, being visible. They have not yet reached the ultimate level of power. They are not aware of the idea that the most dangerous things in the universe are the things that are invisible. Now we are going into deep waters, into things that are not taught in schools, levels that the right travelers warned you about. The fifth level is the puppet master. If the fox is cunning and the lion is strong, the puppet master is invisible. The puppet master has realized that the direct control of the fourth level is meaningless. It creates resistance. If you push someone, they push you back. If you give someone an order, they hate you. But if you manage to make them believe that they want to do what you want them to do, then you own them. This is soft power. This is illusion. The puppet master does not stand on the stage. They stand in the shadows behind the stage. They whisper in the lion's ear. They understand the deepest layers of human psychology. They know that humans are guided by two things, desires and fear. They do not fight with reality. They rewrite it from the beginning. The puppet master creates stories. They design situations where the outcome is inevitable, but everyone thinks they made a free choice. They are the master of ideal deniability. If a project fails, their name appears nowhere. If it succeeds, they collect the reward. They work through intermediaries. They use the sleepers, the imitators, the calculators, and even the operators as their tools. Hervey Cleckley wrote, "Everyone sees how you live. Very few can know what you actually are. The puppet master lives by this code. They are a shape illusionist. They become whatever they want to be. They have no fixed identity. They are invisible. They are a friend to the sleeper. They are a buddy to the operator. They are a loyal advisor to the regulators. They are a business partner. None of them even realize they have been shaped by them. But the fifth level comes at a terrible price. Dissociation. When you spend your life behind masks, you forget what your face looks like. When you see every human interaction as a psychological war, you lose the ability to communicate. The puppet master is powerful, yes, but they are a ghost. They are visible in the world, but they are not from this world. They are cold, colder than winter. They look at humanity with the detachment of a scientist observing bacteria in a dog's kennel. They can predict them. They can control them, but they cannot be one of them. This is the loneliness at the peak of manipulation. Most dark psychologists are here. They think this is the peak. They think being the invisible hand is the ultimate pleasure. But they are wrong, because the puppet master is still playing the game. They are still manipulating the gears of the mechanism. They are still reacting to the stage. The real master does not gamble. The real master runs the gambling. This is the level of godhood. The architect does not manipulate people. They design stages. They understand that human behavior is a behavior of the environment. If you want people to walk in a certain way, you do not ask them. You do not deceive them. You build a corridor. The architect builds the corridor. They create systems, ideas, companies, algorithms, religions, societies, and races. They determine the rules of the game that all the sleepers, imitators, foxes, lions, and puppet masters fight over. While the fox is trying and steal a snowflake, and the lion is fighting for the whole mountain, and the puppet master is convincing someone to give them the snowy mountains, the architect has the monopoly. This is systemic intelligence. It is the ability to think in second, third, and fourth degree consequences. The architect thinks not in financial periods, but in decades and centuries. They are indifferent to the outcome of individual battles because they have rigged the battle. Think of the idea of fathers of social media platforms. They are architects. They do not care what you talk about. They do not care which political side wins. They built the stage. They profit from the chaos. They profit from the conflict. The architect is not evil. They are not good. They are the absolute. They look at the chaos of the world and see patterns. They see the code behind the screen and rewrite it. To reach the 6th level, you must give up personal fame. You must give up the desire to control individuals. You must fall in love with wholeness. You must be a student of innovation. You must understand economics, psychology, history, and physics, and see them all within a single circle. The architect is rare. Perhaps 1 in 17 million people reaches this level. Are you one of them? They are the names that survived in history, not the kings who fought wars, but the people who designed the systems that made wars necessary. But even the architect is not the final level, because the architect is still dependent on conditions. They still have to worry about whether the system works or not. They still have an ego, even if it is projected onto their purpose. If their system collapses, they suffer. There is one level higher, an almost superhuman level. The last level of intelligence is not about knowing more. It is about forgetting. It is emptiness. At the 7th level, you stop being a player. You stop being a regulator. You become the abyss. This is a state of total inner sovereignty. Emptiness has mastered the ultimate Hervey Cleckley characteristic, complete emotional and psychological detachment from the external world. They have nothing, but they have everything. They have no fear because they have no weak point. You cannot threaten with their life a man who does not think about whether he lives or not. You cannot bribe a man who already has everything you have. You cannot manipulate a man who has no ego to inflate. Emptiness looks at the architect's systems, the puppet master's plans, the lion's battles, and the fox's games and smiles. They see all of it as a game, a cosmic deception. This is not nothingness. Nothingness, that is, nihilism, is hopelessness. This is enlightenment. Emptiness works with perfect clarity because their vision is not clouded by desire. They do exactly what is necessary, nothing more, nothing less. They are like a ghost. You try to grasp them and they slip through your fingers. You try to cut them and they reshape. You try to burn them and they turn into steam only to rain down on you later as a curse. Hervey Cleckley pointed to this. He talked about Olympus, fate, destiny, the chaos of the universe. He said, half of our lives are governed by Fortuna and the other half by us. Emptiness has aligned with Fortuna. They do not fight the current. They become the current. In Eastern philosophy, this is God. In Stoicism, this is wisdom. In dark psychology, this is the apex predator, because if you encounter a man at the 7th level, woe to you. You cannot read him. You cannot predict him. Everything you project onto him, he reflects back. They are a mirror. If you look at them, you only see yourself. They can descend to the 4th level to lead a garrison, then climb back to the peak. They can play the fox in a negotiation, then return to nothingness. They use the other levels as tools, but they do not live there. They live in the palace of their own mind, a palace with no door. This is the ultimate freedom, freedom from the need to be a person. And paradoxically, the greatest power lies here because the will that needs nothing dominates everything. Now you are in front of the mirror. Where do you stand? Be honest. The lie you tell yourself is the most expensive lie you will ever pay for. Are you a sleeper, dragged, reacting, waiting for permission to live? Are you a copy, seeking applause, memorizing lines, pretending to understand? Are you a hamster, stuck on a wheel, paranoid, functional, but lonely? Are you an operator, exhausted, carrying the weight of the world, a target for everyone? Are you a puppet master, hiding in the shadows, losing your soul to the masks you wear? Are you an architect building systems, obsessed with legacy? Or are you approaching the void? Most of you get stuck between the 2nd and 3rd level. You are smart enough to know the game exists, but you are still seeking approval, 2nd level. Or you have fallen into the trap of transactions, 3rd level. This is not a problem. Awareness is the first step in reaching the peak. But understand this, the system was designed to keep you in your hole. School was designed to put you to sleep. University was designed to make you copy. The institutional career was designed to keep you a slave. They do not want architects, and they are afraid of the void. If you want to climb, you must go against your entire biological and social identity. You must kill the part of you that wants to be understood. You must kill the part that wants to be safe. You must accept that intelligence is not about being naive. It is not about being right. It is about being effective. It is about seeing the code. So how do you rise? You cannot rise just by reading more books. That alone is not enough. You rise by removing your illusions. To go from sleeper to imitator, you must awaken to the value of knowledge. To go from imitator to calculator, you must stop caring about what people think and start caring about what works for you. To go from calculator to operator, you must develop courage and take on responsibility. To go from operator to puppet master, you must learn attention to detail and psychology. To go from puppet master to architect, you must learn to build systems and patience. To go from architect to emptiness, you must give up everything. It is a long road. It is a thorny road. Most people go back. They prefer the safety promised by the herd. It is warm in the middle of the herd. It is cold on the mountain. But the view is different. When you stand at the peak and look down at the rushing masses below, you realize that all the stress, all the drama, all the intrigue, all the noise, all of it was just a game you no longer have to play. You just observe, and in that observation, you find the only thing that matters, reaching yourself. But there is a specific technique, a psychological key that opens the transition from the 3rd level to the 4th level, the hardest obstacle to overcome. It contains a concept that Hervey Cleckley called virtue. Not virtue in the Christian sense, but a ruthless, reshapeable skill. Most of you will be nailed to the ground at the 3rd level. You will be smart, successful shepherds, but you will always be afraid of the wolves. You will never be able to become the lion. You will never be able to build your kingdom. Why? Because you are still obeying the rules. If you are smart enough, you think the rules will protect you. They will not. The secret to transcending, the secret to entering the world of architects and sovereigns requires a fundamental break in your moral values. You must be willing to do something that society says is unacceptable. I cannot fully explain this here. The algorithm does not allow it. The sleepers will be disturbed and will report us. It is too sharp for a social media that is open to the public. If this has opened your eyes, understand that this is only the part I can share with everyone. There are videos I cannot upload for everyone. There are aspects of dark psychology that cannot be discussed publicly on YouTube without being censored or losing money. The algorithm suppresses the strongest information. These are behind the subscribe button. If you're still here, you're not like the others. If you have not subscribed, do so. But if you want the hidden, look at the other videos and step into the architect level. You will unlock special, uncensored videos that dive into the deepest parts of the human soul. I am teaching you the truths, helping you find yourself, helping you achieve things that most people cannot. And that is exactly the point.